All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome, 8th graders, to today's Explainer. I am honestly so thrilled to be your guide today as we set the stage for, well, a pretty exciting journey. We're going to explore what it truly means to be a hero right in our everyday communities. We hear the word citizen thrown around a lot, right? But today, we're looking at it through a very specific and honestly incredibly powerful lens, the Christ-centered citizen. We're going to look closely at how virtue isn't just some nice thing we talk about. It's something we absolutely have to put into action. So here's a quick roadmap for our explainer today. First up, two worlds, one citizen. Second, what is civic responsibility? Third, why your actions matter. Fourth, how to take action. And finally, morality, education, and peace. All right, let's kick things off with section 1. Two worlds, one citizen. So the Bible actually reminds us that citizenship is way more than just, belonging to a physical country with lines on a map. You've got an earthly citizenship, you live in a specific town, a specific neighborhood, you interact with local laws, but you also have a heavenly citizenship. You belong to God's kingdom. And here's the secret to the whole thing. Your daily actions have to represent both. Literally every single time you step out of your front door, you are an ambassador for both your country and your faith. Which naturally brings us to this big question, and I want you to really genuinely think about this. How do we balance both of these citizenships every single day? How do your spiritual values actually change the way you treat, say, the neighbor right next door? Because it's not about acting one way at church on Sunday and then completely different at school or in your neighborhood on Monday, right? It's about bringing the integrity, the compassion, and the service of your heavenly citizenship straight into your earthly one. Moving right along to section 2, what is civic responsibility? Okay, so civic responsibility. It's basically defined as applying civic virtues and rights in real-life situations to be an active, responsible citizen. Now, I kind of want you to think of this like a secret superpower. It's not just about, memorizing the rules. It's about actually using them. These real-world scenarios we're talking about today, that's how you prep yourself for the exact moments you're called to act. When you apply your virtues, things like honesty or courage or fairness, you literally become an active force for good in the world. Because, let's be honest, there is a massive difference between living in theory and living in reality. Knowing your rights is great, for sure. You can memorize facts from a textbook, ace a civics test, know exactly what the Constitution says down to the letter. But putting those rights into practice, that is where the magic actually happens. It's one thing to know your rights. It's an entirely different challenge to use them when the pressure is really on. By practicing civic virtues in your everyday life, you are actually the one keeping the promise of democracy alive.
Okay, section 3, why your actions matter.
Listen to what James 1:22 says. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. That hits right at the core of true integrity, doesn't it? If we just listen to good ideas, if we just sit around talking about justice and fairness, but never actually lift a finger to make them happen, well, we're just tricking ourselves. Our faith, our beliefs, they absolutely must translate into visible, tangible action. If you really believe in fairness, your actions just have to show it, no way around it. And we see this idea expanded even further in Philippians 2:4, which says, "Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others." So, as a Christian citizen, your role is to defend the vulnerable, to act honestly in public matters. Your civic duty isn't just about, hoarding and protecting what's yours. Ultimately, it's about acting with Christ-like compassion to protect the people around you. You're basically using your freedoms to glorify God by looking out for your neighbors. Let's get into the practical stuff. Section 4, how to take action. So, participating in democracy actually happens in super practical, everyday ways. Take a look at these 3 examples. First up, signing a petition. Imagine your neighborhood park is just falling apart. Well, adding your name to a petition is a very real way of using your voice to influence change. Second, serving on a jury. Now, obviously, as 8th graders, you aren't doing this quite yet, but one day you will be called. And showing up, that's exactly how you ensure the justice system is actually fair. Third, attending a city meeting. Showing up to listen or even speak up about a policy you think is wrong is how you help shape local decisions. These aren't just, boring adult chores. They are literally the building blocks of a healthy society. Sometimes, though, being a responsible citizen means making really difficult, courageous choices. Let's walk through a super common scenario. Step 1, you notice a local safety hazard. Maybe it's a broken streetlight at a really busy crosswalk. Step 2, you decide to actually report it. Even if it feels unpopular or it's a hassle, or maybe your friends are telling you, hey, just ignore it, somebody else will do it. Step 3,
By taking that action, you bring light and truth into the public square. You didn't just walk by, you took ownership of your community.
So I've got a challenge for you. Think of this as your first piece of homework. I want you to look really closely at your own neighborhood right now and answer this. Give one example of acting on civic responsibility in your community. And hey, it doesn't have to be some massive world-changing event. It can be small, but it has to be real. What's one thing you can do, or maybe have seen someone else do, that makes your specific community better?
And here is your second piece of homework, which might require a bit more reflection. Describe a time when standing up for what's right was difficult. We really have to acknowledge the reality here. Protecting democracy and living with integrity, it is not always easy. Sometimes it means standing completely alone. Sometimes it means doing the right thing when literally everyone else is taking the easy way out. Think about a time you faced that, because honestly, those are the exact moments that define your character.
Wrapping things up with Section 5, morality, education, and peace. So the source material intertwines biblical morality with education for a very specific reason. Education without morality, well, that just leads to bad choices that end up hurting people, because it focuses only on being quote-unquote smart. I mean, think about it. What is the point of being incredibly smart and supposedly highly educated if you just keep making choices that hurt yourself and your community? On the flip side, education with morality ensures that your knowledge is actually used for good. It builds a Christ-centered citizen. Intelligence without a moral compass is pretty dangerous, honestly. But intelligence paired with Christ-like virtue, that is world-changing. And there's this incredible promise attached to living this way. Romans 8:6-7 promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. When you engage with your education through a moral lens, when you align your earthly citizenship with your heavenly one, the result isn't just a better community, it's a deep, abiding peace in your own mind. We see this time and time again. Doing the right thing brings a kind of peace that simply cannot be matched by taking the easy way out. So I want to leave you with this final, powerful question for today's explainer. How will you use your education to bring light to the public square? You've got the tools. You know about your dual citizenship now. You know exactly how important it is to turn your beliefs into real-world action. So as you step out of the classroom today, don't just be smart. Be a Christ-centered citizen. Take your virtues, step out into that public square, and bring the light.